I've probably spent $9 million trying to get sober. Matthew Perry reveals the cause of his sobriety after staying in rehab 15 times while battling 55 Vicodin a day addiction that left him close to death. 55 Vicodin a day. That is insane. So, the Friend star, 53, shared the head turning amount of money he spent on getting help for his addiction in a recent interview with the New York Times while promoting his upcoming memoir, Friends Lovers in the Big Terrible Thing. Which, by the way, if you stumble upon this and if you've ever had to deal with addiction or if you know someone that had to deal with addiction, I feel bad for you because addiction is such a hard thing to overcome. So he says, I've probably spent $9 million or something trying to get sober, the actor estimated, while also sharing that he recently celebrated 18 months of sobriety. Good job on you, Matthew Perry. The timeline indicated that Perry was newly sober during the Friends reunion special, which aired in May 2021. So Perry's net worth stands at $120 million, according to Celebrity Net Worth. The actor made $22,500 per episode on the first season of Friends, with his salary rising to a whopping $1 million per episode for the last two seasons, 9 and 10. That is such a disgusting amount of money. It comes just a few days since it revealed that he nearly died from an opioid addiction and detailed how his drug and alcohol addictions left him with a 2% survival after opioids caused his colon to burst and left him in a 2 week coma. The TV star is set to sit down with ABC News anchor Diane Sawyer for an exclusive broadcast interview airing Friday. Ba 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 ba. So in the trailer, Perry revealed that co-star Jennifer Aniston confronted him about his drinking and revealed to the actor that she and the rest of the cast know you're drinking. He also shared Aniston's continued support during his recovery. Aniston was the one that reached out the most, revealed. I'm really grateful to her for that. The extent of Perry's drug addiction was revealed on Thursday during his interview with People magazine while he was speaking about his upcoming memoir. During his interview, Perry, best known for playing Chandler Bing on Friends, spoke about his decades long battle to rid himself of the disease of addiction. He revealed that he had to have 14 surgeries on his stomach and had to use a colostomy bag for 9 months. He said his stomach has a number of scars from the multiple surgeries. His therapist told him he may have to use a colostomy bag for the rest of his life if he takes drugs again, something that keeps him from relapsing. The actor did not disclose when he got sober, but said he is pretty healthy now and chooses to count each day. The actor also said he had to go to rehab 15 times in a bid to get clean, and his first bout was in 1997 and then again in 2001 and in 2011. That's so crazy. So during his interview, he shared that doctors told my family that I had a 2% chance to survive. I was put on a thing called an ECMO machine, which does all the breathing for your heart and your lungs, and that's called a Hail Mary. No one survives that. Adding, I wanted to share when I was safe from going into the dark side of everything again. I had to wait until I was pretty safely sober and away from the active disease of alcoholism and addiction to write it all down. And the main thing was I was pretty certain that it would help people, Matthew said. The actor said his alcohol addiction began when he was 24 while starring on Friends, adding that he was entrenched in a lot of trouble by age 34. Matthew revealed that at one time he was taking 55 Vicodin a day while on Friends, noting that he was down to 128 pounds but didn't know how to stop. And during season 9, Matthew was sober. That was the year he also was nominated for Best Actor. So he played Chandler from 1994 to 2004 on Friends alongside the co-stars David Schwimmer, Matt LeBlanc, Jennifer Aniston, Courtney Cox, and Lisa Kudrow. The show aired 10 seasons and made the stars household names and also made them all super duper filthy rich. They reunited in 2021, the first time after 17 years since the show ended, for a reunion special. Interesting. Let's see some of the comments. Best rated. I read this people excerpt with him on the cover, and the man, what a life this guy's had. I hope he finds a nice low key lady to finally settle down and have a family with. Always loved MP. Can anyone explain why these guys get hooked on drugs and alcohol? Is it boredom after shooting their series or movies and getting paid huge sums of money, or what? So, my guess, right, as to why so many of these guys end up getting hooked up onto like these drugs and alcohol, I think there's a few things, right? One could be boredom. Two, it could be basically like they feel like lost in their life because they basically made it, right? And some of these guys end up making their money super early, right? He was like in his 20s and was making crazy amounts of money. Like you've basically made it, right? And that could like really just mess you up in the head. Another one, which is probably the most likely scenario, because most guys have a bad habit of thinking with their wrong head. So it would not be surprising if his first introduction to basically alcohol, Vicodin, those types of drugs was because of like an attractive lady, right? An attractive lady ended up basically offering it to him, and he was like, yeah, because maybe I could get laid, and then he ends up going down that path, right? Like it opened up that doorway for him. That to me seems like the most likely scenario where, oh, he saw like a cute girl, hot lady, whatever, and it just ended up basically opening the doorway to the hallway of addiction. Let's see. Addiction can be incredibly hard to conquer. My mother, brother, and nephew battled for years before it killed them. Matthew is fortunate to have the resources for his fight, but obviously it has been a harrowing journey and a lifelong battle. Dang. While I feel for him, hearing 9 million was spent, that's a ton of money. One day at a time, good on your current sobriety. Yeah. Imagine having $9 million to blow on rehab and living it up with many millions more along the way. He wasn't about to hit rock bottom very easily. You've got to face your demons instead of trying to outrun them. Dang. If you spent $9 million on rehab, how much money did you spend on drugs? The thing is, he probably spent a disturbingly high amount of money. Let's see. I can't believe the cast each got $1 million per episode in the last two seasons. Assuming about 24 episodes per season, they each banked about $50 million for two seasons. Wow. And they got royalties each time an episode is aired. They must get a nice chunk from that Netflix deal a while back. 9 million is nothing to them. That is true. Like the thing is like Friends is like one of those shows that was structured so well for basically the actors and actresses to the point where they are pretty much guaranteed for the rest of their life to have money coming in that is like disgustingly high amounts of money compared to any normal person's working salary. This person says, I'm new in sobriety too. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. I hope Matthew finds peace and joy. Hey, I hope you're doing okay. Just take it one day at a time. AA costs nothing, just the willingness to change. Let's see, this person says he's so rude in person. Another person says that's an addiction side effect. A buddy of mine was the same, but when he got sober, he was a different person. So this person says, I don't care if a person spends $100 million to get sober. No amount of money can make it happen unless the person really wants to be sober. And that's the thing, right? That's probably something that I probably agree with. Like for any sort of addiction, you have to truly actually want to be sober. Like you probably have to reach such a low point in your life that is practically the only option that you see in your life to take. Let's see. This person says, sorry to sound harsh, but he's a spoiled rich loser. All his problems are self inflicted. What is so bad in his life that he feels he needs to sabotage his life? So many people suffer terrible things, and this actor makes out like he's had it hard. Nope, not buying it. Let's see. So, average $600,000 per stay in a rehab that failed to work 14 times. He should ask for his money back, either that or I'm in the wrong business. See, a lot of people don't even know this either, but a lot of these like rehab centers generate a crazy amount of money. Whoa, $55 a day. Thanks, Matthew. I can't get pain meds after five back surgeries because of people like you. Wow. It must be almost impossible when money isn't an issue to break an addiction. Good luck to him. And this person says, so true. I guess that kind of makes sense, right? Because I guess if you have pretty much an bottomless wallet to where you could literally buy things that you're addicted to constantly, over and over and over again, without it ever stopping, I can see how that makes it an even harder situation to get clean. Interesting. Feel free to give your thoughts on this. Personally, spending $9 million is pretty excessive in my mind. The thing is, at least he's clean now. The only problem is that there's so many people who suffer from addiction who go clean for like a couple years and then go right back into it, like double hardcore into it. So it's just something to think about. And basically, it's just one thing to understand that just because you have money doesn't mean that your problems are going to be solved simply because you're still stuck with yourself.